Hello everybody, this is Positive Phil, also known as Phil Morgan, presenting for Positive Revolution Network and thumbsore.com. Today we have a great show, but before I make that introduction, a huge component of the show and our broadcast are conversations with experts, leaders of tech companies and software companies and mobile technology and application companies, but I pick out the people behind the company. I find that person that has that drive, that has that passion, that has that ambition. I have Jim Kovach on the show. He was an American football, NFL for 7 years. I love this. Even though he played for the Saints, I wanted him on my show. You know, I'm a big Packer fan. Go Pack. But he studied medicine while playing for the NFL. I love it. Chock full of ambition. So he's a doctor as well. I should call him Dr. And then he went to Stanford and received his law degree. So he's an attorney. I'll pull up my notes here. I just think it's, I'm excited about having him on the show and talking about his company, CrowdOptic.com. He is the COO of CrowdOptic. And I'll get into CrowdOptic in a minute, but let me read this. He received his medical degree from the University of Kentucky while starting middle linebacker for the NFL, right? He entered Stanford law degree following a 7-year NFL stint. After graduation from law school, he worked as an attorney, intellectual property, went off to University School of Medicine, held executive positions at NetGenics, a bioinformatics company, Athersys, a biotechnology company, COO, among other things. Take a look at him. Just Google his name and take a look at his character and his biographies online. And you can tell a lot from a person by what they've been involved with. And he's taken those 3 things that my mom wanted me to be, you know, NFL player, a doctor, an attorney. Well, I'm a sales guy. I'm an online broadcaster. My mom loves it, but she will be excited to see Jim on the show here. So I wanted to pan through to his company here, CrowdOptic. This technology is fascinating. I spent a lot of time at sporting events and concerts. So his product is context and location awareness. So basically it connects people around a shared experience in real time. And then it identifies groups of people in a crowd with the same focus. Where they're pointing their phones, that technology, it's just unbelievable. So this creates an opportunity to enhance social interaction, security, analytics, multi-device communication between the fans during the live event, afterwards, and they say it right here, and at home. So take a look at the website. It's crowdoptic.com, and you can tell a lot about a company by the people behind a company. So I'm happy to have Jim on the show. And take a look at John Fisher, the CEO, right here. I want to pitch his book. I read his book over the weekend, and it's called Strategic Entrepreneurism. Just take a look. Yeah, I'm pitching his book because it's a great book. Take a look at his company, take a look at his book, and enjoy the show. This is Positive Phil presenting for thumbsore.com and Positive Revolution with CrowdOptic.com COO Jim Kovach. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the show. Technology is changing so rapidly. It's just this beautiful industry. Everybody is they're draining their bank accounts to keep trying to launch an app just to get some success, to get some downloads. And I want to document that passion. And I look for companies and individuals behind the company. Because a lot of times it's, you see the company website and you see a little bio. So I'm trying to take that software company or that technology company and just talk a little bit about the people behind it. So.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. It is an era that reminds one of the Wild West, you know? It's like, and it's exciting because there's lot of value to it, and so you do well by doing good in a way, and whether it's mobile for sports applications or really healthcare, it's such a disruptive technology. It's just changing the way we do just about everything, and it's John Fisher is someone who was on my board when I was running a basic research institute that studied aging, the biological process of aging. John is a serial entrepreneur, and he knew my sports background, a kind of unique history, and invited me to kind of join the early implementations and partners we have are in the sports areas. And I maintained a network of contacts, and so it was just a great opportunity to really kind of help lead the effort and the recognition among sports venues, teams of really how mobile was transforming their business.
So this is not just a consumer app.
It's used by consumers, but the consumers can be people that are at a venue to watch a game, to watch their team, to watch entertainment. The consumer could be guards or security personnel or fans who are interested in security. It can be one of the things we're developing recently is an iReporter function where the consumer is someone out there doing their daily activities that come across events of interest that essentially amplify the efforts of TV reporting and other kinds of reporting in order to help break news.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, no, that's one that is very, very exciting. I think our technology really brings a lot of resonance and strength to the general term iReporter that's been around for some time. But with our technology that, just for the audience's edification, allows one to detect overlapping lines of sight through a mobile phone, through the camera in a mobile phone. So if you're at an event, basically GPS allows one to know you're there, but our technology allows one to know what people are looking at as detected using triangulation, essentially. Detecting overlapping lines of sight as seen through the camera, right? So we call it a heat map that shows where any crowd is focused on. So that's why same technology could be used for social activation, not based on Facebook that places you there, but rather what are we looking at a particular time? America's Cup, people come from all over the world. They're united by the fact that they're all looking at Oracle's boat capsize, right? So that's both a sports event and a news event. And so they can speak with each other. They can broadcast to the rest of the world. So we've got some really great use cases in connected TV, for example, where you have an in-home audience that is speaking to an in-venue audience and sharing information between in-home and the event itself.
So is this the augmented reality? Is that what that is?
Yeah, augmented reality is really a term that is very general. So if one were to take Yelp, for example, and know that you can associate information by looking at something, that's augmented reality. That's based primarily on, it's based on GPS, right? So GPS knows you're next to a bagel shop, you point at the bagel shop, you can get information about the bagel shop. It's based on your location. Our version of augmented reality is based on focus. So it's GPS, but it's also the information around, we call it a cluster, the overlapping lines of sight. How many people are looking at the same thing? What's the dynamic nature? Is it growing in number or is it reducing? And where is the location of the cluster itself? So that's our version of augmented reality. We call these overlapping lines of sight clusters.
Okay. I did my research and I'm looking at you. I'm like, I'm going to have an NFL guy on the show. So your resume from medical, you studied medicine in between your off season, and then you Stanford law degree. Now you're a tech guy. Where do you think this industry is going in 5 years?
Well, I think that the right now it's the majority of people have a phone in their pockets, right? And so I think that we've seen apps have become very useful. I think, and they are useful on a one app by one app basis. My own feeling, whether it's our market, sports, healthcare, other kinds of environments, these apps will combine with sensors and other technologies essentially to record and kind of anticipate what your next move is, what you want. I mean, right now, I think that that's driven. It's not connected in what I would call a big data way, longitudinally, right?
Longitudinal data.
Okay. Over time, right? And it's not smart enough to anticipate what the user might want. For example, advertising. For example, and I'm going to try to speak broadly, but then always bring it back down to our company. With advertising, we know that one of the big issues is the tolerance of mobile users of ads, right? That's why the uptake has not been significant. However, if you know what they're focused on, if you know what people are looking at, then that gives you a clue, a hint of what they're interested in, right? So right focus, looking through a camera, is a surrogate of interest. And so one can not only imagine we're doing linking in advertising based on focus that is kind of more personalized and individualized to that user or that cluster, you know.
So a shift in that crowd's attention span.
Yeah,
Wow.
yes.
That's fantastic.
And so we can tie that, especially in geolocation, with exquisite, specificity where every ad is, right? So when people are looking at ads, and especially clusters of people, athletes that have particular brands associated with them. So if you're looking at an athlete, you could basically have the technology know that, hey, this guy uses Louisville Slugger as his bat, so, or drinks Gatorade or whatever. The other big area that I think is clearly going to be really transformative is taking, right now, our technology is sensed through a phone. So video everywhere is basically going to be very powerful. And when you tie that, again, from our perspective to things like Google Glasses, go 5 years, right, and just kind of replay it. We know that these Google Glasses are going to, in many cases, replace phones, right? But so now for us, for clusters, you have even a better way, right? Because now it's sight that is the surrogate, not the physical act of picking up the phone. So you'll have clusters everywhere. They'll be ubiquitous is our thought and goal to allow one to on the big data side, on the back end, on the server side, to be able to couple that with when would someone want to know that they're in a cluster of significance, and basically when would one want to know that people are looking at the same thing that they are, and you'd be able to fine-tune it almost on a individualized or personalized basis, and that's kind of one of the general themes, whether it's medicine or mobile technologies, is what I'll call personalization. Okay.
I like the fact that target marketing, where you can actually, that engagement marketing, that's a big piece of your business model, I'm sure.
It definitely is. It's enhancing the fan experience. We've used terms like a personal jumbotron because you can, as a user, if you're in a cluster, you can record data, you can share it with other people in the cluster. So it's pictures, videos, and comments. Instant social is what we call it. And so it's a priori, by definition, something that's driven by the fan. It's an opportunity to create a social network prior to the bigger social networks, right? And so that is something that is designed. We have the app itself is really designed to emulate the view that one gets in a normal camera, so the the algorithms run on the back end, and the user experience is not disrupted at all. And I think one of the keys is to make the phone work for the person instead of making the person work for the phone.
Right, right. So what are the challenges here? Because everybody has the technology, everybody has the next best thing. What are your challenges? I mean, let's say in life in general, and how do you overcome those challenges? I mean, failure is one thing, but, right?
I think that I think the analogy is resources are always a challenge, but I think the key is to look at that as an opportunity, right? And so it's a little bit kind of cliche, I guess, to go back to the sports metaphors, but they really are true. Is that these challenges are really opportunities to act smarter and better and faster and cheaper, and to try to see if there's a way you can be better, faster, cheaper, all three at once, which is really very, very difficult to do. But it's those kind of constraints. And for us, we choose to roll with a small number of people and to not raise significant capital, not go out and do huge rounds like we believe we could, because that's dilution, and that can be lack of focus. Our business model is to really run tight, run fast, and really identify integrators. That, for example, this, just to name a couple categories, right? You'd want this on all the phones, right? And so it would be the phone manufacturers. One of the things in terms of providing fan enhancement is they're a rights holder already. So you have both media owners out there and others, and technology providers that have big organizations, right? And so for us, our model is to find, have success, best of breed, get out there, kind of throw the rope over, the best organizations in the world, and get in there and do deals with them, and then use that as a way to essentially partner on an enterprise level. So, yeah, with 13 people, that's a little bit of a
No, that is fantastic. I'm telling you, I last week I went up to Orange County and I met with a public company, and they do a little game, a mobile game, and they're paying themselves $600,000 a year each. I mean, their stock is 2 cents. They took out all this outrageous money. Their game, freezes, and they're wondering why no one's downloading it. They're wondering why they don't have any visibility, because the money's going out the window. They lose control. You have to run it lean.
Yeah, that's right. The lean startup. And so John Fisher has written a book about it, and you should read it. It's really quite an interesting read.
Pitch it. Let's hear.
I read it, and doing it is harder than reading it. But that's what I like. I think that anyone who's made it into the NFL or position, or kind of my life has really been something I've sought out opportunities that I call them interfaces, that take two seemingly disparate areas and try to tie them together. That to me is really fun, but it's difficult because businesses do kind of get entrenched in their own way of seeing things, and so you have to really kind of work on that. So those are the challenge. I think would just kind of boil it down in some version to resources, but then to just comment that's the opportunity too.
And what's that passion for you? I'm sure you mean money. When I'm talking to successful people just in life, I consider successful just great neighbors, great fathers, great people, great employees, great workers, just people that have a positive attitude. And a lot of the people that I'm interviewing, they could care less about the money. That's not what drives them. They have something else burning inside of them that makes them wake up every morning, so they can get on the phone to create partnerships, to create relationships. What drives you? I mean, from Stanford.
Yeah, I've always been driven by, and I figured it out. When you're in the NFL, you're doing something that is very unique. And then I had developed some really good habits in terms of studying. and had good grades and was able to, I think kind of transforming to me is when I was able to play college ball while I went to my first year of medical school at the University of Kentucky.
That's awesome.
And I said to myself, wow, you know, because no one had ever done that in the modern era of what I'll call it kind of the large budget, you know, this is back in the late 70s, but nonetheless, it was just being made possible where a guy could graduate in 4 years and go to graduate school. They only allowed that, and I just happened to get it the first year they allowed it. So I know I'm the first person ever to go to graduate school and play major college football. There are people that do it now, but I like the fact it's like, wow, I did that, and I was like the first person to do that, you know. So I kind of got this thing of really getting interested and kind of following that direction, and it's been a very long and interesting journey, and it's really kind of led me to now with this kind of last chapter to really kind of be able to continue to do what I love, but I really see the next several years on the sports and entertainment environment, as you put it. You know, mobile is going to be very powerful, but I think there are other applications as well that go to health, wellness. The former NFL players, for example, and traumatic brain injury. These are issues that are. I mean, when you look at it, they're huge, huge issues, and we're just getting started on figuring out what the consequences are, and it has ramifications for the whole country as well. Because kids, you know, millions of kids play high school athletics and all the time. So kind of big sort of big issues, and then trying to apply my talents has always been something I've been interested in, and it's a never-ending journey. It always gets like better. Who would have thought like 5 years ago, mobile technology? So there's something out there, right?
Right.
5 years from now that I'll be doing, and it's just it's kind of a fun way to live life.
So what is John Fisher's his book called? Do you mind pitching it?
It's called The Strategic Entrepreneur by John Fisher. And Gerald Fisher. Gerald Fisher is his dad and mentor in a way. He's a physics professor at Stanford. And so that book is now part of the curriculum at the University of San Francisco and a couple other universities. And it's extremely well written, and it combines very good observations with there's a very practical nature. The advice in it makes sense. It's like, as an example, okay, you're starting a company. What are the chances you're going to become the next Google? 1 in 10 years, right? However, what are the chances you could start a company that Google buys? And if that's more likely the exit instead of an IPO, and it is, statistically most companies get bought, why don't you build your company around that more logical exit, right? So it makes perfect sense what he's saying, and hopefully it's out there guiding some of the, as you point out, the ability to start a company now is like fantastic, and I think there are a lot of people that could be influenced by the book. You know, I think it's you know, there's been, how does it compare to the passionate person who wants to run a business forever? Well, there is that aspect of starting a company. We don't start companies to sell them. So it's not, I do think he leaves enough leeway for someone like myself. I have another company I started, and I'm passionate about it. It incorporates realism into the process, which I think is always a good thing.
I thank you for being on the show. I love having guests on the show that are just passionate, that are in this technology space. And someone behind a technology company, they don't necessarily need to know 100% about technology. They just need to have that drive and that mentality of keep trying, don't give up. And I love the fact that you're running this company lean. I think that's applaudable.
Yeah, no, definitely. Appreciate the chance to be on the show, and yeah, we definitely should stay in touch. It's good to meet you. Look forward to any contacts, and thanks. It was a great opportunity.
Enjoy your night, everybody. This is Positive Phil presenting for Positive Revolution and ThumbSore, and we have Jim Kovach, COO of a company called CrowdOptic.
Thanks a lot.
Bye, Jim.